Well, good morning, folks here in person, and welcome to those on Zoom. I really can't hide my grief today. It is a heavy day. It's a heavy time. Another person was killed yesterday. And these are times where we are humbled in these moments to just be together in that space and to feel our feelings and to honor humanity by honoring these lives that are being taken from us. So let's just take a moment to connect with our bodies. That's where healing can happen, when we connect with our full body and we feel how this really is. So if you can find your feet on the floor and soften your gaze, and let's just take a couple deep breaths together. Take a deep breath in and breathe out. And another breath in and out. From this more grounded and aware place, I'll try to face these realities together. I had the honor over the last couple days of gathering with over 600 multi-faith clergy from around the country. And I was able to witness and feel the love and support and sacrifice that people made to show up and resist the threat of authoritarianism, the threats of violence. We gathered together to be witnesses and to gather as moral exemplars and moral leaders of faith and say that these things that are happening are wrong. On those living in the land of the shadow of death, a light has dawned. That's what our gospel says today. There's a song that people have been singing in the streets. Hold on, my dear ones, here comes the dawn. I heard a story from the first Native American woman to be ordained in the ELCA, a Lutheran denomination. This reverend told us that she had been followed and chased by ICE officers in the last couple weeks. She was afraid for her life. But through the mutual aid networks that she had been a part of, through this Signal app, through this one place where people can communicate without fear, she was able to ask for help from her community in real time and say, I'm being chased, I'm being followed. And people came to that location, intervened from those cars and blocked them from going any further, and she was able to get away. I heard the story of a rabbi who was maced 8 times in a row because she was convicted and committed to staying with an immigrant family and refused to let them be taken. She put her literal body in between these people. She risked her own safety. Doors are being busted down. People are being dragged in the streets. Observers are being shot. People are being taken from hospital beds. School buses of children are being followed. They're bait. This is horrifying. It's truly horrifying what's happening. It's not about immigration. It's about humanity. And it's about dismantling one kind of power structure so that we can have a different kind of power that everyone gets to have. The power that Christ's love gives us, that doesn't know any boundaries, that does not exclude anyone. America wanted to be the land of the free. But freedom for all does not grow in the same field that grows slavery and boarding schools and concentration camps. This moment is revealing to us that the sins of our forefathers are still haunting us today. They still haunt our soil. This is the land of the shadow of death. A death-dueling America is afraid to lose its grip on its power and control. And it's attacking us in Minnesota because we are an intercultural, powerful community. We are that we are the threat. We are the new way of being. It knows real life and real power when it sees it. And it will do what it does best. It kills whatever comes in its way, quickly or slowly. There are many options. Right now, it feels like being a good person is a threat to the status quo. Just loving each other, protecting our neighbors, having these close relationships and networks of care and community, that's threatening to power. That's threatening to a dominator. They do not want us to have that kind of collective unity. They don't want that. And that is the exact strategy that early Europeans used on Native Americans. It's written, it's recorded. It was strategic to rip them apart from their food, from their ways of eating together, from their ways of joining collectively. That was a strategic way of disseminating their power so that they could be powerful. We are just seeing these things play out in different ways, but this is the same kind of equation. These cycles will keep playing out until peace takes that place, until room is made for transformation, for healing, for deep repair and reparations. There's real cultural wounds here. This fear and this violence, it's not coming from nowhere. This actually makes sense. It's what this economy has led us to. We haven't been able to repair those cultural wounds. And now is that time where we are really being called to be asked to do that so that these cycles of violence can end, that we don't keep perpetuating this violence in different ways. Jesus tells us that it is precisely at these times when death and darkness are imminent, that they're felt, that we're scared, that the light dawns. This is right now. The kingdom is upon us, right? We can feel it. Think about how you might have felt in the last few days. How it felt to see thousands, tens of thousands of people gathering together, standing up together, singing together, saying no, we will not let this happen to our communities. God dang it, there is freaking power in that. That is amazing to see and to feel. My neighbor said to me, in a weird way, this has been really good for me. I've been in such a deep depression, but now I feel like I have a purpose. Song leaders throughout the Twin Cities who have been leading groups of 30 to 50 people are now leading crowds of 1,200 people in songs of resistance. People are mobilizing, they're uniting, they're being called together to build a new way to be American, which is actually an old way, which is actually the original vision of being American. I think we had the vision right. Freedom and justice and liberty for all. That's still a really good vision that we should strive for, but we didn't do it right. Even within the beautiful resistance, I think many of us are still wondering, are we going the right way? Are we following Jesus? I think that's always a good question to be asking ourselves. Will these efforts be the efforts that really bring peace? There was one voice I heard that felt like it stood out among the crowd. I was with literally hundreds of clergy, and I only heard one time something that felt like it cut through a different way. It felt like, oh, I think that's maybe what Jesus would have said, you know? And it was a voice from a movement chaplain who shows up in these spaces where activism and protesting and social change is happening. And he goes to the Whipple building where the immigrants and other folks who are being detained are there. And that's where a lot of ICE agents are patrolling, and they're staying, you know, they're like watching guard. And he talks to the agents and the people who are coming out. He's asking them, how does it feel to be yelled at like that? Like he's caring for them. And he said something like, my only hope for humanity is that everyone, even these people, have love inside of them. And I need to connect with that so that that can grow. That will disarm them. That will be the way that I really believe that this can be different. I only heard one person say that. And I think that was really profound to me to hear that. I think I needed to hear someone say that. After I found out about the death of Alex Preddy, my anger and sadness came out in this sentence. I said, "Put down your guns and come and eat a meal with us. This needs to stop. This needs to be done. This warring, this violence." Somewhere in my body, I knew that the goal is to be disarming. To get people to put their guns down and stop fighting. Somewhere I knew that I wanted to invite them to a meal, to be fed. And that sounds crazy, kind of, doesn't it? I mean, it feels crazy saying it. It doesn't really feel like many of us are saying these things. But what does that really mean? What would that even look like? How do we really realize something like that? Those are, I don't know. I want to ask, though. So I'll just leave us with this question to wrestle with. If I somehow found a way to set up a community meal where there were no guns and there was no fighting, and everyone did respect those rules, and the seats were filled with your families and your neighbors and people who used to terrorize you, would you go? Would you attend? And I think Jesus would be asking, would you follow me? Amen.